What up, nerds? My name is Leslie Smith. Welcome to The Nerdy Narrative. This is a channel I use to share with all of you guys all of the things that I read in case I happen to come across something you might be interested in picking up yourself. Lately, I have taken to referring to my channel as a Heinz 57 channel because I read in so many different genres. Now, I do primarily these days stick to a lot of fantasy and horror, but you're also going to see some science fiction, classics, manga, comic, and here and there a rare sighting of a nonfiction book. With today being Friday, that means it is time for my weekly reading wrap-up where I go over what I read, what I am still reading, and what I plan to read next. I did have my best friend Heather in town for the last week, so I didn't get a whole lot of reading done. I do want to stop really quickly and say a huge thank you to my newest top tier patron, Ann Edwards. Ann has actually been around the channel for quite a while now. We've been having a lot of discussion in the comments of the videos. I am so excited to have her be a part of the Nerdy Narrative family. So a huge shout out and thank you to Ann for supporting the channel. And guys, I do have my Patreon linked in the description box down below if you want to check that out and see what I have going on over there. Now, let's get into what I read. The only book that I have completed since I last checked in with you is The DarkTower, and I'm going to do a video about my experience reading this series, so I'm going to keep it brief. There was a lot of pain in this book. There were a lot of tears, and I mean, I just finished it last night, so it's very fresh. But the ending, in my opinion, was brilliant and a true masterpiece. I will also say, if I had read this series when I was younger, like I often wished I had reading the series because I've missed out on it this long. If I had read it when I was younger, I do believe I would have been upset with the ending. But now that I'm older, and also because I am more widely read, what Stephen King did with the ending, I have now read several books where authors did that. And they're all recent books. They're all recently published books. So, in my opinion, Stephen King may have been one of the first to do what he did. And I absolutely loved it, but the hangover is real. I feel like there is a huge hole in my life because I've been reading this series almost the entire year. I do have When Through the Keyhole left. I'm going to read that next month, and then I'm going to put together a video just talking about my experience reading the series, and I'll keep it spoiler free in the first half, and then I'm just going to go buck wild with spoilers in the second half because I know there are a lot of fans out there that love this series and might be interested to hear what I think. But guys, this was so worth the journey, and if you love fantasy, if you're a fantasy reader and you haven't read this series, read this series. This just became my #1 top favorite fantasy series of all time. Okay, now let's get off of that because, like I said, I am still very emotional about it. So let's talk about what I'm still reading. I am still working my way through The Count of Monte Cristo. As expected, it's a 3-month read-along, so it's going to be slow. I am on chapter 23, so I'm already almost 200 pages in on this. The audiobook is everything. Just everything. The narrator is just amazing, and he just makes it so, I want to say romantic, but I don't think that's actually the word that I'm thinking of. Not romantic in lovey-dovey, but just beautiful, attractive. His tone of voice and the way that he enunciates his words and says all of the French terms. It's just so beautiful that even if I wasn't enjoying the story, I would just love to sit here and listen to this man read anything, actually. But the story is great. I have found that I am enjoying the slow-paced revenge plot. Like, we are getting every little detail, and it just kind of almost feels a little gossipy. So I've just been eating it up. Since I finished The DarkTower last night, this morning I made my coffee and I had to decide what was next on my TBR to start. I went with Sinless Sins by Josiah Bancroft, and I've only read 3 chapters, but Josiah Bancroft hooks you in that first chapter. Just hooks you. I am very intrigued by the mystery of the Tower of Babel. I am not in love with any of the characters yet. I have not been immediately taken in with anybody. Thomas Sinland is so awkward that he is almost annoyingly so. But in chapter 3, I saw a bit of a change that I think I might be okay with. So if that continues and he continues to evolve as he is searching for what he lost, I think I'm going to be okay. The author did an amazing job introducing what this book is going to be about in that first chapter, and he did it in such a way that it just draws you in. And I am so curious. I already have so many questions about how did this happen? And then how did these other strange things happen in conjunction with the big thing? Like, I need to know. And why? Why does this happen? I can't wait to get back to this one later. And then I have one other book that I have started reading. And I just have barely started it because, like I said, I didn't want to get too heavy into too many books since I knew Heather was going to be coming for a few days. And we went nonstop. We had the best time, but we went non-stop. But I also started book 6 of the Nightmare Land Chronicles by Daniel Barnett. Book 6, which is called Lily, is the end of the first arc. I really love what he's done, and I don't want to say anything about it just yet. I need to read more to be sure that what I think he's doing is what he's doing, but I feel pretty positive it's what he's doing. All that to say, I am reading the draft for Lily, book 6, Nightmare Land Chronicles. If you are working on the Nightmare Land Chronicles or you've read up through book 5, keep your ears open. As soon as I hear of when this may be published, I will be letting you know. For those of you who have been hearing me talk about Nightmare Land all this time and you've been interested, but you didn't want to get started on it because it's going to be a 12-book series and you wanted to wait till closer to when all of the books were out, now would be a good time to jump in because books 1 through 6 are going to be one arc and 6 through 12 will be a separate arc. So I think it would be a really great time to jump in and see what all of the fuss is about. Okay, now that we've talked about what I've read and what I am currently reading, let's talk about what I'm going to read next. First up will be The Heroes by Joe Abercrombie. Super excited to continue my journey through the first law world. There's only one more book after this, Red Country, which I'm going to hit up next month. And then the book of short stories, I believe that is called Sharp Ends, which I have. Huge thanks to Steve from Steve Talks About Books and Stuff. He and his wife Brandy sent that to me a little while back. So I'm super excited to wrap up my stay in the first law world. And then I'll be starting his other trilogy that the 3rd book is coming out in November, I think. So I think I'm going to end this video here and go get started on The Heroes and see where that takes me. Guys, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed this little check-in. Let me know in the comments down below what you've been working on reading this week. Have you read The Dark Tower? Are you thinking about reading The Dark Tower if you haven't? I would love to talk to you about it if you do. I tell you guys, I wanted to start at the beginning immediately. I hope your morning has gotten off to a wonderful start. Just remember, today is Friday. The weekend is in sight. If you stand on your tippy toes, you can just see it. You just got to make it through today. I hope you have a great weekend planned. I hope you saved room for some reading in there. Take good care of yourselves, and I will see you soon.